Welcome to the Jobnik.
Earlier today, Ireland's female basketball team disgraced itself by refusing to shake the hands of their Israeli opponents, and they also refused to line up at centre court for the national anthems. This was before a EuroBasket 2025 qualifier, which Israel won easily, 87-57. Now, before the game, Israeli player Dor Sar had said the Irish team is quite anti-Semitic, and gosh, they did seem determined to prove her right. Joining me now is author Rabbi Shmuley. Rabbi, what do you make of the team's antics? So far, Basketball Ireland is standing behind their players.
They lost. They lost huge to Israel, and isn't that what matters? Isn't that what sports is about? You know, Rita, Ireland was dominated by England for 800 years. They know what cruelty, they know what persecution is all about. They fought for their rights. The fact that they have no sympathy for the Jewish people who were left homeless for 2,000 years as they were exiled, persecuted, gassed to death, just shows that they've lost their way. But what's particularly interesting to me is that this is a women's team that they boycotted. You know, the October 7th massacre was mostly against innocent women. Gang rape, decapitation of women, women being shot in their genitals, having their breasts cut off, all of which was documented by the New York Times at great length with interviews of hundreds of people. So the fact that the Irish team would take this out on a women's basketball team is particularly telling. This is misogyny, this is anti-Semitism, and it's a disgrace, like you said, to Ireland and a disgrace to their history.
Now, we've seen this happen in cities like Brussels and Paris, but I've got to say, I never thought it would happen in Melbourne. Today's Herald Sun reports Jewish residents of the northern suburbs of Fitzroy, Coburg and Thornbury are moving south due to fears of anti-Semitic attacks. These suburbs have recently become incredibly left-wing, and Jewish-owned businesses have reported doxing and boycotting attempts from members of the public. Now, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese was asked about this today, and he said he's never seen such social disharmony in Australia.
I have not seen a rise in social disharmony like I've seen in recent times. It is tragic that people feel that they have to consider moving from their local communities. It's completely unacceptable. It's not the Australia I want to see.
Rabbi, your wife is Australian. You spend a lot of time in this country. Do you recognise it anymore?
Listen to what Anthony Albanese just said, Rita. Notice he said people, he won't say Jews. Notice he says disharmony, he won't say anti-Semitism. This kind of nebulous nonsense is why the problem never gets better, because we are afraid to point a finger and say, this is a 2,000-year-old hatred, which Australia was largely impervious to. And now it is slowly migrating down under. And not only is it undermining Australian society, it's actually undermining Australia's global image. Because the reason why people love Australia and tourism can flourish all the way a 25-hour flight from the United States is because Australians are perceived to be very easygoing. There's very little attention. They're really, shrimp on the Barbie. Sorry to be so American. Australians were always seen as a very benign and warm and welcoming people until leaders like Anthony Albanese get past their ridiculous wokeism and their silly nebulous statements that are meaningless. People have to get along. Cut the kumbaya nonsense. This is anti-Semitism. Jews are having to move out of their neighborhoods. Australia is becoming seen around the world as an anti-Semitic country, and it breaks my heart because, as you said, I'm married to an Aussie, lived in Australia, and I love Australia.
Absolutely. Now, before you go, singer Annie Lennox used her performance of Sinead O'Connor's Nothing Compares to You at the Grammys to call for a ceasefire. Let's have a quick look.
Artists for ceasefire, peace in the world.
Now, what is your response to Annie Lennox and I'm sure many well-meaning folk who say they want a ceasefire, not because they want to help Hamas, but because they want to stop innocent people from being harmed and killed?
Well, we are 1 month away from the 30th anniversary of the Rwandan genocide. Why didn't anyone call for a ceasefire and just allow the Hutus to kill 800,000 Tutsis and then say, okay, let's all just call it quits and, love each other and roast marshmallows together? Ceasefire means that you leave genocidal Hamas in power so that Jews will die and be murdered and beheaded and be burned to death. That's what it means. Ceasefire is another word for surrender. Israel surrenders. Now, let me be clear. I also believe in ceasefire. I'm going to officially right now in this beautiful kosher restaurant, I want Hamas to surrender unconditionally. There will be a ceasefire.
Rabbi Shmuley, thank you so much for your time this evening.
Thank you, Rita. God bless you.
Thanks for watching. Drop a comment below. Don't forget to like, share, and hit subscribe to stay updated with our latest content. Until next time, stay informed and inspired. This is Dejobnik signing off.